Live from New York, it's Ask Some Engineers.
Hey everybody, and welcome to this edition of Ask an Engineer. It's me, Lady Ada, here at the Adafruit Factory. We're on air, as you can tell by our nice new on-air sign. I'm an engineer, but I also have with me two other engineers. You've got Danielle and Zach from Particle and Other Machine. We'll be talking to them a lot more, but we're going to have a truly terrific show today.
This is going to be a historic show.
History's in the making.
You normally don't have like three, I would say, like leading companies in their own spaces all together on a live show anywhere. Like this,
ever.
It's usually at a tech conference and like.
We had to get insurance to do this.
Yeah.
They're like, you're too close together. Like, what if something happens?
A third of the maker movement just gets wiped out.
It's like, let's say we went to like bad tacos or something. We got food poisoning. Bad scene. Anyway.
I totally booked bad tacos. Why did
you do that?
It was on OpenTable. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So you want to?
Let's do the show. So tell them what's on tonight's show.
All right, on tonight's show, the code is Other Particle because it works good as a code. Other Particle gets you 10% off in the Adafruit store all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight.
But does it include buying like an Other Mill?
Yes, if we have them in stock.
And does it include buying a particle core?
If we have them in stock. We're selling a lot of you guys' stuff.
It's 10% off.
Yeah. Also on tonight's show, we're going to talk about the show and tell. And of course, we might get to some other stuff, but the big thing that we're going to be talking about tonight is Other Mill. Say hello, Danielle.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about particle.io.
A little closer.
Yeah.
You're cut off. People want to see the whole you.
Yeah. I'm gonna like get off the screen once in a while.
Scoot. Sorry.
And we'll be talking about particle.io, Internet of Things, milling of PCBs, and more. It's going to be an exciting show. We're going to take your questions. We're going to have a trivia question. All that and more on, you guessed it, Ask an Engineer.
Engineers.
Engineers, plural. Okay. So real quick, just a reminder, some logistic-y stuff. The code is Other Particle. It'll be up till 11:59 p.m. tonight. We take Bitcoin, which is still weird. I think someone bought each of your things with Bitcoin.
Really?
Yeah.
Like all at the same time?
I don't know if it was the same time, but yes, some Other Mill was bought with Bitcoin. Yes, the core was bought with Bitcoin. So we take Bitcoin. It's weird. We still have our deal going on, $200 or more for UPS Ground, and also we have our coloring book. So we came out with this coloring book. It's called R is for Robots. We had another one that was called Lady Ada's A through Z of Electronics, and that's a script for Circuit Playground. The puppets are in the back. But we started another one, so we're all the way up to the letter T. Last week was S, and it was for self-driving car. And this week is, the show's brought to you by the letter T. This is T is for Turk. This is what's considered like maybe one of the first robots, is the Mechanical Turk. That's where Amazon gets their, if you ever wonder where it came from. So you can color it and everything. So that's
An automaton.
That's our coloring book. And
cool,
you don't need to purchase it. We decided to let people download it for free, so it's on our site, print it out for kids or adults. Apparently, coloring books are big for adults now. It's a thing. It's like
nostalgic.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah.
No, it's like kind of cool and adult. It's like, ooh, like I'm an adult, but I'm doing kid stuff.
Well, now you know how to do shading.
Yeah, and like artisanal crayons are what's next on Etsy. Okay, so Lady Ada, why don't you quickly go over the show and tell? The show and tell is every week at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. People from around the world show their stuff. What did they show this week?
That's right. So this week we had another full house. We had 8 people, no one paid or two. So there's 9 people showed up on the show and tell. So we had all slots are booked. But of course we do this every single week at 7:30 p.m. So please show up next week. Start off with Tony from Adafruit Northwest. He had actually 2 projects he's working on. One is a Pro Trinket power meter. This is basically a little Arduino power meter that uses a very precise voltage and current meter to measure how much current is being drawn by another project. It's good, especially if you're doing power calculations, like how long can I run this thing off of the battery? So he built this because he actually was interested in how long he can run a project off the battery. And the project that he wanted to figure that out for was a cell phone to Adafruit IO project. He used a Phone-a-Shield and a Metro to send humidity, temperature, and barometric pressure over the interwebs to Adafruit IO and is graphing it. So he's helping me actually do a lot of beta testing on Adafruit IO and is one of the developers that's doing code for it. So it's great to see that it worked on the live demo, because if it didn't, I would be like, back to the drawing board. But it worked. Thanks, Tony. Noah and Pedro came by from Adafruit Southeast, and they're doing some great 3D printed stuff as usual. This week they have the Link Shield, which is this really beautiful 2-piece print. Goes well with the wooden Link sword. They also showed off a cute Raspberry Pi Palm Top, the Pi Libretto. And they're also maybe making some sort of pie tablet type thing. I don't know. I gotta go watch the video to find out what they're making and how they're making it.
We're also starting the Adafruit chess club.
Yes.
So we'll be publishing chess pieces. There'll be Adabot ones. I think you're going to be the queen on the board. I think.
Are you gonna be the king?
No, I think Adabot is going to be the king. I think I'm just a pawn. I'm a pawn in your army. That's basically
cool.
what it is.
All right, but I got like 8
Or
of you.
I might be the knight because I think I'm like the sword of Lady Ada.
You're the knight,
You
definitely
just
the
tell me to
sword.
like go and stab
Who's
stuff.
the rook then?
I don't know.
The bishop. All right, well, we gotta figure this
Yeah.
out. We have like 2 weeks to figure this out
Yeah,
before we have to
that's
get to
fine.
that. Sorry, where was I? Okay, we also had a couple other people. I'll just read them off in random order. Jackson came by. He's building a project for a pride parade he's going to, I guess, this week or next. And he made an LED lapel pin with a Gemma and a NeoPixel. And it's got a little magnet and clips to him. And it's like super rainbowy and it's like super fabulous and it looks great. So I'm sure he will be like the pride of pride. So that's cool. I always like people who like make projects and then show them off in public. Arcturus came in with his trapeze outfit, which he actually showed off last week, but he didn't have a working mic. This week, his mic was working, and it's a trapeze outfit, and it's sound reactive, and he used little bits of magnetic connectors, which is very witty, very smart ideas, because if you're on a trapeze, you really don't want your wires to bind. A bad scene. Gregory came in with more army projects. He's like the most kitted out person in his group, I guess, or his troop. He's got an army helmet cam with button control. So he's got a Raspberry Pi with a Pi camera and then 2 buttons in the back, and he can press them and there's an LED indicator. And he actually did all this work to basically make his own GoPro, but it's like more powerful than that because he can customize how it works. And he's also having it record sound. So it looks really cool. And he like put the wrap over the helmet, and it, this looks fun. So he's gonna like chop around and take video. Richard showed off 3 projects. 1, Power Tool Drag Race. Looks super dangerous. Apparently going to have flames later. A 3D printed Raven skull, which is going to be cute, kind of like a prop from that apparently is in Mad Max. He's going to make this little prop for his gigantic rig, I guess. I don't know. Maybe his Power Tool Drag Race car. Looks like something from Mad Max. And he also has a solar bag, which would also be really good if you're trapped in the desert with like in the post-apocalyptic future. And it has a power path that goes through the bag he showed off last week. Really cool handmade bag with all the electronics built into it. Mike Barella, who's written books with us, is in Europe, but stayed up late and showed off some ESP8266 raw programming for the NeoPixel ring. And he's like, hey, I want to commit some code to GitHub. And I'm like, go for it. You have access. Why are you even asking me? So we'll see if he broke everything. Or maybe made everything work awesome. And then finally, C. Scott came in with his SMT Chrominia synthesizer, which is he had a 3-hole version, turning into a surface mount version. It's ridiculous and huge. And he's also working on a 3D printed electronic tabletop game. So we'll see more of that in the future.
Okay.
And I got everybody.
How did they get on the show and tell?
Let's say you, the viewer, want to show up at this awesome party with all these cool people showing off all these LED projects. Well, you can do that. It's so easy. All you have to do is get your Google Plus account. Go to plus.google.com/+Adafruit and look through the postings until you find the posting with Adabot, which is like the character right here. Oh, there you go. This is Adabot saying, hey, like comment here to get added to the show and tell circle. Comment there and we'll right click on your little like plus avatar thing, add you to the circle. You'll join the other 600 people who are invited every single week, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Show off your product 2 to 3 minutes and it's an awesome party.
Okay, good work. Wow. All participants on the show and tell will get a seat on the show and tell sticker. If you're on the show and tell, just email support@adafruit.com and we will send you a sticker in the physical mail.
They're nice vinyl stickers.
And you can turn them into patches and bat signals. We've granted permission.
Put them on your uniforms. Totally fine.
Okay. All right. Well, don't forget the code is other particle. 10% off in the Adafruit store. Let's get this started. First off,
We gotta hydrate.
you want to hydrate? Okay. So we're going to first talk about Other Machine Co. And then we're going to talk about particle.io. It's a little bit of everything's like a .co or .io. That was the rule tonight for the guests. Yeah, it's
what you do.
It's better that.
Well, you saved like a 33% by not paying for that extra M at the
for
end
a
of
while
Co.
it was like Flickr and Tumblr. Now it's like .io,
Yeah.
.co.
Now you have to have the full word, but you just have a.
Yeah, you have. Yeah. Well, we're working on Adafruit.io, so.
But it's input
We
output.
want to be.
It's perfect.
We want to be.
Functional.
We want to be hip. Okay, so welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. What do you do? This
What
is
do you?
why
Why are you here?
Yeah.
Even? How'd you get in here?
You have one of the most useful, cool things that we use day to day here at Adafruit. What is?
But the viewers don't know it.
What is Other Machine?
Oh, Other Machine Company. We build one product right now, which is the Other Mill. It is a portable, high precision milling machine. So for cutting 3D objects out of wood or metal, and most people use it for doing PCBs, so milling out circuits.
And there it is. You can actually see it.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you. I've thought about we thought about this before on the show. So, what are some of the things that people can do?
Well, most people are building their entire electronics project. So the circuit itself, and then the enclosure for it. They will even build decorations for it out of metal or like. They can see the screen, right?
Yeah.
So
oh yeah, you're seeing what they're seeing.
That's great. So
but we can't see all of them. Maybe. Shh, don't tell them. We can see directly into their homes.
Yeah, so most people are doing, they want to go start to finish, get something that's functional, and then either keep it for themselves, give it to their friends so they can test it out and keep refining it before they get it made, or some people even form a company later. And then there's the other side of the thing, which is everybody who's making jewelry and more like very detailed craft with it.
Yeah.
So like the inlay is my favorite. Actually, Simone, the person who runs support for us, made this mother of pearl in Purple Heart inlay, which is just from just a 2D drawing.
Yeah, I've known Simone forever, by the way. Congratulations, he's great. Like I remember when the first time I got an email, I'm like, wait, that's you.
Yeah.
So one of the things that has happened, I think, in the maker world is, so Lamar and I got a laser cutter a long time ago, and that's how we paid for groceries. We would let people come in with their MacBook, and we would laser etch for $100 cash. And in New York, all there is
iPod for $40.
Yeah, and all there was designers with their designs, and they would.
And it was weird. This was like, we were like, what is this machine?
And we had it in our living room, and so we had a laser cutter, and then 3D printers came along, and then there was things like the Cricut, and then there was, a couple little tools here and there. But the thing that's interesting about the Other Mill is there's nothing like it. Like you would have to have a giant mill. You have an Other Mill, and so before you did this, what types of tools would people need to do these types of projects, like milling PCBs or it's like giant equipment. Like what is bridge for?
Like a Haas or something.
Yeah, like what did they need to do?
Things. Yeah, most people didn't even bother.
That's
the sad thing.
They're like, is this too big? I have no room for this.
Yeah, you either don't have room, or you need a whole shop, or sometimes you need to have special training to use these tools. And that's really, I think, the biggest barrier for people is, even if you can gather the cash and have the space for a larger machine, in the past, you still you're like, okay, here's your ticket to learning 3D CAD and CAM for this big thing.
You never get to actually doing a thing. You're just setting up the thing, running power for the thing, getting like a certification for the thing, and by the time you're just like, you know what, I want to do something. I need another hobby.
Oh, I think actually that's how you define the type of people who most often were doing it. They are in it because they love that process.
Yeah.
They want to dig in. They want to learn something that's really difficult and harness this power that not very many people can do.
Okay.
But we're hoping to change all that, really.
Okay.
What's your favorite thing that you've made on your Other Mill? You've been making a lot of stuff too.
I wear this bracelet every single day, and it's just brass, 60 cents worth of brass. It says "Make It So #1" in the Star Trek font.
Ooh.
And
can I show it on the overhead?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No, I love it, and it's super simple. It's just an engraving in brass.
But it looks great, and you've got like the detail, and then the font imported very nicely.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it looks like it was like cast or something. It doesn't even look like it was milled. Usually milled stuff is like really rough and not very precise. So you get the precision of like mass manufacturing, but at home, and the customization of like doing it yourself.
Yeah. So I think, for me, I don't have a mechanical engineering type of engineering degree. So the world of 3D modeling is new, and I really
the
like
fact that you could do this,
use it even without knowing that is great.
One of the things I really like about Other Mill is the software. So tell me a little bit about it, because it's the most beautiful. Like you can see the machine as it's going, and like you visualize. It's like a virtual version of the machine next to the Other Mill.
Yeah. So usually when you're running a milling machine, you see zeros and G's and X and Y's, and so that's G code, and most of the machines run that. But we wanted to hide all of that, and the way that you interact with it is very visual. So you see a representation of the other mill on your computer screen, and you can drag in your files, you can tell it how big the material is, and really you just have to say, okay, I have this kind of material, it's this big, this is my file, and it'll recommend a tool for you and calculate all the paths. And we wanted people to interact with it in a way that gives them that visual feedback immediately. So like, oh, actually this piece of stock isn't big enough for my file, or this tool that I have selected isn't going to cut all of the detail, I need to add a tool. So it's what you see is what you make.
Yeah, it is one-to-one. And so we did a case study, so we use it here quite a bit at Adafruit. So Lady Ada, how do you use the other mill like today, or how did our team use it today?
I am so glad you asked.
Yeah.
So we use the other mill almost every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. And we actually, we used the beta one that we got from Kickstarter. Is it beta or first release? I don't know the name of it.
Yeah, we just call it Kickstarter.
The Kickstarter version. And then we actually gave away that one and get one of the ones that's shipping now. It's fantastic. I mean, both have been really, really good for us. And we mill our circuit boards on them. So what we do is not for production stuff, actually, because the stuff that I'm doing for production is a little bit too complicated. And also, like, I can, I need like masks and stuff. So instead of doing that, I still send out my prototypes for a PC manufacturer because I don't mind if it takes a couple of days. But our test procedures use the milled PCBs all the time. So we are often having to build jigs and testers and stuff. And that's stuff that I can make a bigger PCB, but I need to be able to, if something is going through a test process, and like, for example, the one of our cellular modules, like, it's going through test process, and I realized, like, after seeing like 10% failure rate, I was like, oh, you know what? I made a mistake in the tester design. The boards actually should have been passing, the tester was flawed, which happens. I mean, like, whatever, that's life. So normally you'd have to be like, okay, I have to stop, I have to order more PCBs, I can't do anything, and you're stuck for a week. But instead I was like, okay, let's make the quick change, put the resistor, change this capacitor, move this line over here, make that analog input, whatever, and then I recut it, and I'm done in an hour, and then we're back into production. So there isn't, like, and basically people are coming back from lunch, and I'm like, we're done. Like, while they're going out and getting the tasty tacos, I've already designed like a new product. And also what's really cool, which is a side effect, is a bunch of people who are here at Adafruit have learned EagleCAD. They've learned PCB layout. And they were always really scared of it because they're like, well, why learn something where I'll spend like $50 and then a week later I'll get it and I won't even remember what I was doing. And there's a mistake and I don't know. And like they're just starting, so they're not making like 8-layer boards with like BGAs. They're just like, I want to make like a little synthesizer. So they can actually do that now, learning and cutting, learning quick and very fast. And so that 3 to 5 run prototyping that they would have to do to learn how EagleCAD or CAD works, they can now do in like a day. So a bunch of people learned CADsoft, which is really sweet.
That's great. Yeah, we see a lot of people buying them for education.
Yeah.
That's most of our business, in fact.
Okay, so some quick like company stats and things. So you are located where?
San Francisco.
And what is the building like? Because it's a kind of an interesting space.
It is. It's a historic building. It's the Schoenstein Pipe Organ Factory.
So you're in a pipe organ factory making machines that can make things.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. How many people are you right now?
22.
22. Wow. And you first started at Kickstarter. That's how you did it. And you're a funded company. And the price point of the other mill right now, when people buy it on the Adafruit store on your site, what is it about?
$21.99.
$21.99. Okay. We actually, I looked on the store. We sold out. Either someone bought the rest of them or like whatever. So they used the code or whatever. So
we'll get you some more.
We need more. And so, are you able to say roughly how many units that you've shipped, or is that?
It's secret.
Okay, I don't want to. Never mind. I don't want to. Okay.
Well, they sold at least 2 to us.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Well, no, because I have during Zach's segment, I have the particle.io screenshot, and you guys have a ticker of how many you're selling.
That's
So
true.
yeah, no,
Very
it's
small though.
Yeah. The number's big, but the
It's a little bit.
and so what's ahead for other machine and other mill? Like, what's the next thing you guys are working on?
It's really about building all of the support content that makes it possible for people to go from beginner to advanced.
Gotcha.
So we are going to be working on all of that material and just exploring, basically just listening to the customers and figuring out how to level them all up.
Gotcha.
That's what's next.
Gotcha. Okay. Very good. All right. Well, we're going to keep moving. We'll come back to you for some questions. Okay. All right. Okay.
Don't walk away.
Yeah. All right. So station break, I guess. Don't forget the code's other particle. We don't have ads. We don't take sponsorship. The people who go and they check out in their cart, that's what pays the bills here. Okay, so next up, I get to bring out our little Internet of Things. So we made Nimbus, the Internet of Things cloud entity. I just want to help you with your stuff because it's an Internet of Things.
You're so friendly.
Yeah,
He's cute.
yeah. So Zach, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and the company that you run and the products you make.
Yeah, so I run a company called Particle. We used to be called Spark.io, so I'll just throw that out there. Like, if you're like, who is this guy? Oh yeah, the Spark guys, right? So we were Spark up until like not that long ago, a few weeks ago. And we make tools for people who are creating Internet of Things products, people who are trying to connect stuff to the internet. This started with a Kickstarter campaign in 2013 for a product called the Spark Core.
Yeah. Both of you started with Kickstarter. Yeah. That's interesting.
Now the Particle Core, I suppose, or the Core. We don't know what to call it because there's like so many out there, and the packaging all says Spark Core. We're like, yeah. But so now, we are just starting to ship the sequel, which is called the Photon, which is like a better, faster, cheaper version of the Spark Core. And we also had a Kickstarter campaign a couple months ago for a new product called the Electron, which is our cellular development platform. So basically, these things are all like, we sort of describe it as an Arduino plus Wi-Fi. It's not totally true because it's a different microprocessor, and the connectivity is very integrated into the experience. But the point of it is to make it really easy for you to develop an internet-connected product, whether it's connecting through a Wi-Fi or cellular network, give you all the things that you need for that product to work, which includes the hardware and a cloud platform. All this stuff is open source. And in addition, provide tools for when you want to go to scale. So we're really interested in like what happens when an entrepreneur, an engineer goes from making one of a thing to 10,000 or whatever. And so there's a whole bunch of tools that you need to make that transition and make it easy, and then manage those products when you've got lots of them out there. And so those are all the things that we're building into the software.
Okay. First question, I took this off your site, but what are some of the things that people have built with the Particle platform?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
I made it easy for you. I have some of them here.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things that people have made. So we've had, I think, somewhere in the range of like 12 or 15 people who've launched either Kickstarter campaigns or Indiegogo campaigns for products that are using our platform. So, and it's a lot of, it's smart home stuff, but some cool ones here. Like, so Clever Pet is a pet toy, sort of, that feeds your pet over the course of the day when they have to like hit the pads. It's like a game of Simon for a dog.
Okay.
It's like Dance Dance Revolution.
It's Dance Dance Revolution.
Dance for your supper.
Pretty much.
Okay.
But what's cool about it is it keeps getting harder as the dog like learns the game.
Okay.
And so it keeps them engaged even after
what
they
if your
like
dog's really
outsmart it.
stupid though? I mean,
Dogs are smart. They're little learning machines.
smart? Okay.
No, all dogs need jobs. And
Yeah.
That's true.
No, they do.
Yeah, they
Dogs
prefer to get
they
food.
chew their paws off to have nothing to do.
Right. They prefer to get food. If you give them a bowl of food and this, they'll go to this and work for their food because they'd rather do that than just get free food.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then there's L3D Cube is it's a cube display, so like an 8x8x8 LED volumetric display that uses our tools. And what's cool about it is that's also programmable. So it's a you can just log on and you get the stuff that comes with it. And if you log in with a Particle account, then you can actually deploy you can send new visualizations to it using our over-the-air firmware update. So they've like taken our over-the-air firmware update mechanism and like pulled it into this thing called CubeTube, which is like YouTube for 3D LED visualizations.
Okay.
Oh, that's neat.
So then there's connected sprinklers, there's connected bedding, there's a couple different companies who are doing growing, like letting you grow plants in sort of a managed ecosystem for plants in your home. Fishbit is an aquarium, aquarium management system.
Yeah, Fishbit is just fun to say because it's like, it's like Fishbit, Fitbit, but it's for fish.
Right.
And you know instantly what it's like. Oh, you're just gonna feed your fish over the internet. It's Fishbit. Okay.
Yeah, and they do like pH level.
You're also making them
management.
exercise.
Yeah.
Fish exercise.
Right. Yeah, they have treadmills.
Yeah.
For the fish.
That's cool. So out of the things that people are making right now, is there something that you'd like to see that someone hasn't got to yet?
So one of the things that's starting to happen that we're really interested in is people who are developing additional tools that like can take advantage of the stuff that we've got. So there is a guy named Eric who developed a product called Blues, which is a BLE version of the same thing.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So we called it a compound because it's like a collaboration. We've made a hardware abstraction layer in our firmware stack, and we're basically saying, look, take our firmware and port it to other places, and you can use all our tools, and it's all free. So anyone who wants to create a Ethernet version or a mesh networking version or something of our stack, we'd love to help, and we'll give you all of our tools so that you can use those to sell hardware to customers.
Okay. Next question. So I didn't double and triple check, but I'm just gonna ask. So is the software open source? Mm-hmm. The hardware is open source.
Yes.
So I have a screenshot from the GitHub.
That's really funny.
Repo. What?
Because they're like formerly Spark. Because they're like everyone's like,
everywhere.
hey, I'm in the wrong
everywhere.
place.
Yeah.
No, it's funny.
Look, Prince got through it with the artist.
No,
Prince. It's worked out. It's fine.
very effective.
That's what I suspected. But sometimes there's debate of what open source is or not. I actually don't care about that. But people ask us all the time, like, why in the world do you do open source Adafruit? Like, why are you giving away the hardware and the software? Why does that make sense?
You're crazy lady.
Right.
Yeah. Like.
So there's a couple reasons why we're open source, and it's tricky because we're a business. Like we are a profit-seeking business. We're venture capital funded. And we're trying to grow a thing, and that feels like it's at odds with open source. And for us, open source, we still want to create a viable business, but what we want to do is make it so that our customers can help each other and they can help themselves, and that we think our product is better because it's peer reviewed. So we get firmware contributions. You caught a bug, a hardware problem in the Spark.
I only know hardware. I can't.
Right, but like we needed a buffer on something, and you caught it before we did.
No, because I was using the same chip, and like it's one of those things where like you don't catch it, and it's like that's what I try to tell people. Like until you make 100 or something, you don't know what's wrong.
Let me tell you a little bit of the story. So Limor saw this, and she's like, oh my God, I have to tell them because if they're going off to manufacturing, they're going to have huge problems.
Yeah. And we would have if that had come in 2 weeks later, I think we would have had.
Yeah.
So it's a really good thing you had a schematic.
Right.
Because I was working on it and I was like, I should check if they are. Because I was just like, I should see.
And one of the things we talked about, we said in no other industry would anyone want to help anyone, but because you did open source and you put this stuff out there, we're like, and we like you, but that was helpful. No, but we said like because you gave, you got. Right. Like you had Lady Ada looking at your schematic, and you can't call her up on the phone and say, "Can you look at my schematic?"
If you did, I would have been like, "I'm not looking
at it." And
by
the way, I had there was like a celebrity crush moment with that happened where like I was like, "Oh my God, guys, Lady Ada just commented on our hardware designs and she fixed something."
Well, it's like when Bunny gives you advice about hardware. It's like, oh my God, Bunny is talking to us.
Okay, everybody, like, shut up, listen.
Yeah. So anyways, I just want to let people know, like, if you ever wonder why we do open source, is because these type of serendipity like moments can happen if you put things out there.
And it might not have, but the fact that it did is like it's worked out for you.
That would have totally sucked if you needed to.
I know. We would have had a real problem.
No, because it's not. You have to redesign the board.
Yeah.
But I have a question. Have you gotten for the core, not for the firmware, which is new, but for the core, did you also get firmware fixes and like library fixes?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we did a couple things where like we were having some issues. We not only did we get a firmware fix, but we got one TI to fix a problem. Texas Instruments.
Yeah, we both remember. I was like, I'm gonna get them to fix the Apple.
We get. Right,
so you
all ganged up on
the
Texas
Instruments.
I got the 10 thing going.
Right, that was the
What
first
did you
bug.
do? You did the
There was one
MDNS?
afterwards, which was it was susceptible to like ARP traffic, would like take it down.
The MDNS thing. Yeah.
So and that came because we had a bug and we were like, we could not fix this bug, and we had no idea where it was coming from. And we went on our community and we're like, hey guys, we'll give you like $100 free stuff in our store if you can fix this. And the guy who ended up fixing it is does firmware development for nuclear test facilities in and it was and
he fixes your thing for fun.
The number of hours he must have put into it, and so at the end we were like, he fixed it, or he discovered exactly what the problem was, so that we could turn to TI and be like, here's the problem. Atomic issue, like please fix this, and they did.
Yeah. Our problem was just like, hey, if
we gave him $500 of free stuff instead, which was still not nearly enough.
Our thing was easier. It was like, if you have an Apple router, it doesn't work. And it was funny because they had a list of all the routers, and I'm like, You tried like every Linksys and like Netgear, and like they never tried the people at TI must hate Apple. They never had like an Apple grabber.
It's like not allowed in the building or something.
All we have here is Apple grabber, so it's
Yeah,
driving
right.
me crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What were you gonna say?
So I wanted to use that as an example because I think because you publish so much, and I was looking at the repo, you have commits all the time. Like there's just tons of stuff going on.
Oh, yeah. And our documentation actually is one of the ones that gets most commits. So our documentation is open source. And if you're in our docs and there's a button in the upper right that says edit this page. And if you do, it pulls up the GitHub page where like you can just type in, and if you hit OK, it'll send a pull request. And then we can look at it and make sure it makes sense and contribute it. So we get tons of contributions.
Okay. Some quick company things. So you're based out of where?
San Francisco. We are 2-3 blocks from your office.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're at 69th
Whoa.
Alabama.
Oh.
That's cool.
Hang out more.
Yeah.
How many people are you?
28.
Okay, and you are a funded company.
Yes.
You guys sound similar.
Yeah, you
Sound
guys
similar.
should totally hang
Sound similar.
out.
We should share stories.
Yeah. And the other thing I was going to
You guys
ask
have to share like the
is
good restaurants.
so
and brunch spots.
according to when I did the screenshot, so far you have shipped 17,468 photons sold. Now taking orders for June shipment.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, we've sold 17,000 so far.
Yeah, and you also have an ecosystem thing going on. So Adafruit has a
Yeah.
We actually, as we
What?
the next thing,
Oh, sure.
can I ask you how many cores you guys
We
sold?
I think we sold about 60,000.
60,000. Okay, so
60,000
you're on
cores.
track already to overtake your original.
That's we're shooting for.
Yeah. Okay. But you also started kind of building an ecosystem out there.
Yeah.
So we have something coming up, Lady. When you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I gotta
What is-
finish this.
Yeah. What is this?
They're ready to go. I have to like order PCBs. No, because I wanted to wait for it. Because
Yeah,
I'm one of those
I have
people-
photons for you.
Yeah, I wanted to actually try with the photon, just because you never know. Like I have this thing where like until the hardware is known to be good, it's not known to be good.
Right.
Don't ask me how I've learned that like 8 times by now. But so we made just a lot of people actually asked. Originally had asked us to help them get NeoPixels working with the core, and so that was actually one of the earlier libraries I got ported, which is good because I'm like, I do not know STM32, sorry, I can't help you. But somebody did, and that's great. And people just love, as you saw from the show and tell, people love Blinky stuff, and I do too. And so it's a great match. And so we took a NeoPixel ring, and we added some mounting holes, and it's core or photon compatible. And I only had a core at the time, so I took a photo with the core. This was many, many months ago. And it's just like a very kind of, I kind of thought of it as like I was designing this around Christmas or something, so I thought it would be like a really good Christmas ornament. But I thought it'd be fun, like people can make portable. It has a battery jack, so you can have a portable battery battery jack for having a very glowy LED circle, which seems simple, but people really like.
I think that about 2,000 people, so in our web IDE you can see all the libraries and they're sorted by number of people that have used them. And
Yeah.
I think 2,000 people have used the NeoPixel library.
What's the most popular
The
library?
NeoPixel library.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's nice.
it might be number 2. I think it's number 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope like
There you go.
analog input is number 1 or something. No, do not
Okay.
need sensors, just LEDs.
All right.
Right.
And speaking of ecosystem, you guys made an announcement with Sparkfun. There's a whole set of products go with it. So what are these? You
Yeah.
can go to Sparkfun and go to the IoT section. That's where I grabbed this from. But what was this announcement and what's coming up with these?
So they're doing
Yeah, I
they're
can
making
see.
some shields for our ecosystem. So
Are you calling them shields?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
It's a word. I don't know. We tried to come up with our own. We couldn't come up with one that was.
We
big
have that
shields,
link
so-
shield.
Capes for bagel. Yeah, it's like
I know, there's capes, there's hats, there's like.
Yeah.
We had one. We were going to call it a
shields,
jig, and but then we were
Well, it sounds like a dance. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
yeah.
But in any case, so they have shields for photons and cores, and they're doing a weather shield, and they're doing a battery shield, and they're doing a little display shield, and they're and an inventor's kit, and they also are making a breadboard, so an Arduino Uno footprint version of the photon. So the photon is, it's designed to go into a breadboard, but if you have Arduino shields, we have this thing called a shield that's like plugs the two into one another.
Yeah, like let's say you have like a
Gotcha.
motor shield already, or you already have some sort of prototype that's
Right.
meant for an Uno, and you're like, well, I just want to have like Wi-Fi-ness attached. It might be easier just to like
Right.
this.
Right. So the breadboard is like, if you have Arduino stuff, you can use that, and it also uses a slightly different module version than the. We have 2 modules that the P0 goes on the photon, and the P1 is on the breadboard there.
Okay.
The only difference between those two is just the antenna, right? I don't think there's.
There's like external flash, and
Oh.
but yeah, pretty much.
So next up, and this is a question I'll pose to all of you. So we've thought that it might be a neat idea for people who make Internet of Things devices to start talking about like what's okay and not okay, because it's like data privacy and like style stuff, and we're the people that get to make it. So Lady Ada wrote this thing about Internet of Things, and she got interviewed by the New York Times, and we've been talking with companies, and we don't know the answer. We just said, here's things that's kind of important to us. So we said that if you make Internet of Things devices or services, open is better than closed. This ensures portability between the Internet of Things devices. Sound okay?
You know that? Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Open's good.
Check. Consumers, not companies, own the data collected by the Internet of Things devices. That fits with all of, like, when people use, they get the data that they're trying to do stuff with, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so I'll throw in. I think this is a little. For me, it's a little bit of it depends, because I think.
No, it's all it depends.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like for a lot of it is the companies who want to. If you think about who the companies are that want to create connected products, a lot of them are people. They make stuff, and they want to bring it online, and they do want to learn from the data that the devices generate. In the same way that like every website has Google Analytics, and
yeah, we do.
Like Google now, I don't think Google should own that. I mean, Google owns it because that it needs to
they
go
have
somewhere.
access to it.
But
yeah.
like, it's really for you, right? You have
Well, we have a dashboard, we can see it.
right. You have data on when people come to Adafruit's website, so that you can learn how to better lay out your store and like all these different things. So I think that the companies who make the products do deserve to have the data so that they can make improvements to their products. But I don't think that we deserve it. We'll hold on to it for you, but we're not actually we're not interested in that data. We want the people who create the actual end devices to have it.
Yeah, like you upload a photo to Flickr, like they don't really want your cat photo. They just want to store it and do stuff. It's your cat photo.
Right.
Yeah.
Why did you use the word own instead of share?
Because it's a draft. Like we're trying to, because because I don't get a chance to talk to anybody about this. Like we don't really know, because we with Adafruit.io, people are gonna they're gonna put a device and it's just gonna do data logging, and they're gonna ask us, is that data file mine or yours? It's like
I think the reason we did own, because I wrote this, I think I remember why I wrote this a year and a half ago, or 2 years ago now or whatever.
Yeah.
But the idea behind own is that when whoever owns the data gets to delete it. And so, if you don't have the right to delete the data, you don't own it. Right. And so that's kind of was my idea. It's it always kind of bugs me when it's I get signed up for everything all the time. Like I don't do it myself. People sign me up against my will, and then I'm like, delete my account. I don't want to be part of your startup thing for LinkedIn competitor. And they're like, no. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, how can you own my name and my account?
Yeah.
Right.
So the idea I had behind this was if somebody says I want my data and I want to delete it off, they have the right to do that.
Well, Google did that with what is it, Takeout? Like you can just download all of your stuff out of Google. Like that's a cool feature. Like it's I just want all my calendars. I want to get out of here.
Right.
So, anyways, the other one that we had is, and these are high level ones. Internet of Things devices that collect public data must share that data. The reason why we mentioned that is there's lots of sensor networks that cities have, and they have it's so valuable. They're collecting public information. It's how many people are walking by the sidewalk and traffic patterns and so many things that we can do stuff with. It'd be nice if we had access to it.
Yeah.
I think that'd be nice. Users have the right to keep their data private. I don't know.
Yeah.
So if they're
Opting in, opting out, whatever it is.
I prefer not to have my Wi-Fi scale maybe post on Twitter right now, because I've been eating a lot. But maybe I would like to have it post sometimes.
Right.
I was using Runkeeper for a while, and I like that sometimes I could be hey, I just ran 5 miles, and then sometimes I'm I went outside and I had to go back in, and I don't know. So I like the idea that I can choose on that. And the other one is users can delete or back up their data collected by Internet of Things devices. This is what you were talking about.
Yeah, this is part of the ownership thing, because if you don't own it, then this isn't going to be even possible.
So
That's my favorite one.
You like that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
what's your favorite rule from the Internet?
well, so
Nimbus likes all the rules.
yeah. Hi. I mean, Nimbus is he's a little grabby. I think I maybe I'll change that graph later. But
All your data.
yeah, I've got all.
That seems actually very this is
I just want your bicycle.
Or maybe he's presenting it here it's on a plate.
Yeah.
Hello.
So the idea
Kind of movies.
the idea is, and I like that you have fantastic values. I like that we can have conversations like this, because we don't get to talk to
Amazon.
Nest.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't get to ever who am I going to talk to there? Hey, by the way, what's
Right.
going on with my house? I don't we're at the beginning stages of we all kind of grew up with Creative Commons and open source. but like I have no idea what Dropcam and Nest and like some of these Internet of Things companies. Samsung is coming out with this like their Internet of Thing company. It's like and they said they're open source on stage at I think CES, but what does that mean?
Right.
So anyways, so we're going to keep talking to companies. Eventually we're going to try to come up with like, here's what we're all kind of thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd love to participate in this, by the way, because
All right.
I think it's really important to get this stuff to codify this stuff in a way that makes sense, and then build that into like sensible defaults for how all this stuff works. And I also think that it has to work for the people who own the products and the people who make the products and kind of everyone involved. But like it's possible.
Yeah, I mean we spent like 2 or 3 years on the open source hardware definition because there's no way to protect hardware actually.
Right. It doesn't fall under copyright law. So
so what we decided is like, well, something is called open source hardware if it has like these types of things in it. Like just because you use EagleCAD, it's okay. Like yes, there's people who are like way more hardcore, but like eventually like you might have to use an AVR chip. That might not be open source, but you've published the schematics, the source code, you've done the best you could, and like we generally agree it's okay if you use Windows and EagleCAD to make to publish your schematic. Like there's people who don't, but like there's like kind of like, well, we'll never get far unless we have like some type of thing. So the definitions worked out well. People do open source hardware and they can identify it. They're like, oh, I can download the schematic, the board files, and the firmware and the software. Cool.
Right.
Like once in a while, like someone like Bunny uses Altium because he makes laptops. Right. So yeah, you'd have to get a copy of Altium. It's not ideal, but like he's giving you the file. It's still okay. Anyways, so that's our Internet of Things.
Can I say the other thing about the Internet of Things? I remember there was those hackers that we met that were hacking their the diabetic blood monitors.
Right.
And the thing that was really annoying is that it connected to like an app. Like they had these blood monitors, like the ones that you wear, and they connect to an app, and they tell you stuff, but they couldn't get the raw data. And they asked the company, well, how do we get the raw data? I actually want to look at this, like it's my blood, right? And the company said no, like we won't let you. So they eventually hacked it and they like dumped the flash off. And I was like, that's really weird. Like I understand if you're like, okay, we're not going to give you the firmware for how we analyze your blood, but it's your blood. I mean, like people want to have their own tracking system. So I think in the end they figured out a way around it. But I was kind of like bummed out because I think especially if you have equipment that's important to your life, you should be able to get that data.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
Well, that's most of it. Now, normally in the show we have a bunch of different segments. Because you guys are kind of fast-growing companies, we have adafruit.com/jobs where we post. We allow people to send the jobs in, and Lady and I approve them if it's a maker who has skills who wants to share, or if it's a company. So like IDEO, like post stuff, Instructables, like all these companies who want engineers. So are you guys, because you're in the Bay Area and a lot of people, are you guys looking for any particular jobs at Other Machine right now?
Yes.
Who are you looking for?
2.
Okay.
Desktop applications, software engineer.
Okay.
So if you want to develop a thing that is a standalone that runs on Windows or Mac platform, that.
Okay.
For Other Plan, our software.
Yeah.
2, VP of Marketing.
Okay.
We're growing. We need people in charge of things business-wise.
Okay.
That's it.
Excellent. When you look at marketing out there for any industry, including the maker and I guess I would say this like builder, what companies out there or what type of marketing do you like when you say that's nice?
That's what I want.
Really, I think that the story will happen because we're good at talking about what we do. I would love to find a marketing person that is really good with statistics and codes.
Okay.
If I could ever find that person.
That's like a magical person.
It's so magical.
A marketing statistician.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And also you should be able to bench like 180.
At least.
Okay.
All right. Zach, what type of people are you looking for right now?
So we are, this is weird to say because we've been hiring like crazy forever. We're actually kind of full up right now.
Okay.
But I will say one of the things that we are always looking for is really killer firmware developers. We have really interesting things going on the firmware stack. And in particular, if you out there, if I say test-driven development for embedded systems and you go, ooh, then you should send us an email.
Okay.
So
I'm telling you, tester design, it's the key.
So othermachine.co and particle.io, there's, I think, links on each site.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so software, marketing, hardware, firmware. We cover everything. That's pretty much all the jobs available that people would ever want anyways. What other things would you want to do?
Okay. All right. Is there anything that we didn't ask you guys that you wanted to talk about?
Oh, I wanted to show off.
Yeah, we want to
photon
all
hardware.
right. Let's show off.
Can I nerd out on hardware?
Yeah.
for a second?
you
Okay. So
can
this
go
is a photon that everyone wants.
Right.
This is the thing that everyone wants.
So I just want to show off a little bit because there's some really cool stuff in the photon design that I'm really proud of. So first of all, it's really tiny, and it comes in this little matchbox, which we really enjoy our little packaging.
It's cute.
It's cute, right?
Minimalist.
Yeah, minimalist. And so, and this is the board. So I'm going to point out a couple things that we're really proud of here because we like our designs. So first, there's a joke on the inside of the packaging, which I'll quickly put up. But it's a joke.
Yeah,
That's a
It's
nerd
upside
joke.
down.
You can go the
Is
other
this-
way.
is it supposed
Yeah,
to go this
it's
way?
right. It's right
Yeah.
ways.
Oh, well then, never mind. Then there you go.
Okay.
A photon checks into a hotel, and the bellhop asks, can I help you with your luggage? It replies, I don't have any. I'm traveling light. So anyway, there's the
nice.
joke. And then also on the board, so there's some things we're really proud of. So we have our own Wi-Fi module now, which is super exciting and has our little logo on it. There's a microcontroller in here, so this is like everything you need to do Wi-Fi and actually program it. And you can buy these modules separately. And then we did some fun stuff. We have some cool colors going on here that
Is
took
this
forever to get done.
Is this multicolored silk or is
This
it
is, I think it's
just light blue on black?
it's a cyan on matte black.
How do you do that without getting the matte to be not so the blue to not show up? Usually it's tough.
we had to search for a PCB guys who could do this,
Yeah.
and it took forever to find somebody. And it's silkscreen. It's not 2 layers of solder mask, but it's at high res silkscreen. And then the other thing, so we made a design change after we announced it, based on feedback. We added castellated edges, so we have a headerless version that you can mount this down. And if you do, there's extra pads on the bottom, so you get more features. And then we put this beautiful little thing on the back.
That
It's
is
a
nice.
nice little design. So it's a nice little thing.
All right. This is like $19, right?
$19.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. They're fun.
Okay. At the end of the show, we're going to be giving away at least one.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. If someone orders one right now, how long until they would get it in their
A
hands?
couple weeks. So we
Really?
haven't shipped them all out. There's
So this
a
is
big
people
batch
should
going
really
out.
hold on because when we do the giveaway, this is their chance.
Yeah, and then they'll be shipping real time a couple weeks from now. Yeah.
All right.
Now you guys just you just released this version 3 weeks ago, right? So this is all very new.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's only been shipping for very short amount of time.
And Danielle, if someone orders another mill, we sold out of ours, but if they go to the website and order one from you, how fast until they could get it?
We haven't announced it yet, but as of next week, they will get it in a week.
A week.
Wow.
Wow.
You'll also get your other mills.
No, it's fine. No, it's
No, they sell out. What do you want? I don't know.
whatever.
Look, they're popular. It's good. Like,
Yeah.
We really said we're like
I'm so-
the Adafruit warehouse is full of other mills.
I'm so glad the whole backdrop isn't a bunch it's like skids of other mills. Hey, sorry we ran out of room because there's just other mills. Yeah, this is great. No, they don't last very long in the Adafruit store.
That's great.
All right. Okay, just a reminder, the code is other particle. I always like mashing up maker company names. So I wanted to do an April Fool's joke where
Makerbot.
Adafruit merged with MakerBot and it was
Yeah.
going to be called Makerfruit Adabot. But there was some things going on in MakerBot and they're like, please do not do any jokes because there's the investors. So they said no to that one. And then I'm going to maybe next year do Sparkfruit Adafun. So that's why I thought other particle
that.
would be.
Are you guys doing it?
Yeah. Okay, are you going to do any quantum things where entangled particles or
So we always did. We have this Slack channel. We use Slack for chat at the company, and we have a Slack channel that's naming when we come up with new products. We spend months debating.
Oh,
what the
yeah,
name is.
it's-
And now it's which particle is going to be the next
Yeah.
particle.
Yeah,
Do you have
usually it's
upton and
months.
lepton? Did you go down to that level?
I want to do tachyons so bad. I want them all
Yeah,
to be
tachyon.
tachyons, which is a faster than light particle, which is a theoretical thing that
Yeah.
probably doesn't actually exist. But
No Higgs. No Higgs module.
right,
This
yeah.
boson.
We'll just name it
That
God.
doesn't sound.
The
Yeah,
God
God.
particle.
Yeah, I mean, there's and if CERN does a really good job, you might have more product names made for you.
This is a little bit like the Apple operating system cat problem. They're we're running out of cats.
Right, so they had to switch to
This
California
is the thing,
stuff.
yeah. So this is why it's good that you
Right.
guys have there's at least 15 particles,
I
right?
know, we're going to run out one day, unfortunately.
You think
Because
so?
we're just going to make so much stuff.
Well, there's neutron and you can go bigger and smaller
Yeah.
and then
All right.
spin. You can
Okay, we're gonna open up some questions. We got chatty, but folks, start typing your questions in the chat. Lady, you had one that was queued up for you. Someone really
Yeah.
wants to know this. Are you ever gonna make a 3G phona?
Wow, what a good question.
Yeah.
I sent out the prototypes today.
Okay.
So yes.
All right, and I'll extend the question. So, can you tell people why it's hard to make a 3G? Why is it? Because it's like the 2G ones are pretty good and cheap and like low power. Why is 3G tough?
So 3G is hard for a couple of reasons. It's more complicated. So typically the boards are a little bit bigger because there's just like more that has to happen in the hardware. And but really it's a lot more expensive. And I think we've been trying to figure out if this is really true. I think a lot of it is because of IP. So basically like Qualcomm owns a lot of patents in 3G, and a lot of I think a lot of the money goes to those patents. It's true for LTE also. So it's harder to get a 3G thing for those reasons, and also because a lot of this stuff you're not talking about high bandwidth. So most people were comfortable with 2G up until like now, because 2G is going away in the next couple of years, especially in the US, not so much in Europe. But so like 3G is important all of a sudden, although it's only important for like a short time. Like next year, it's going to be LTE because everyone's trying to push to LTE, or like maybe not next year, like
but LTE
2
modules
3
are
years from now.
gigantic.
I know they all say that, like you talk to them and they're like, but next year it'll be tiny and cheap. And I'm like, really? Are you that close to tiny and cheap?
The thing that's interesting about the 2G is like, it's, because I decap all these modules whenever I get them.
Sure.
And the 2G stuff is a single chip now. It's one chip.
Highly optimized.
It's completely, it's one
and
chip.
it's probably from MediaTek, right?
It's the
Like,
MT.
usually-
Everything's from MediaTek.
Right.
Look, I figured it out. It's like the MT6660, and then they have an analog front end, of course, because you do have to have like an analog front end.
Right.
But you can make it like the size of like a fingernail because it's a single chip. And with the 3G, it's just like there's multiple chips, and so they have to cram so much in. It just gets really big. It's not like a one chip solution. It used to be that the 2G stuff was huge. Now it's teeny.
And like you also have multiple bands that you have to support in different parts of the world, and that typically means that you then have to have you might have to have multiple like RF circuits and like the front end. So that makes it complicated. It's
for some reason they can't. Yeah, like the modules that I'm going to use they have an American version, a European version.
Yeah.
Like they're completely.
Are you using the same ones that we?
No, we're not.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're just totally cool. I love them, but but we're using SimCom. I just like because all of my stuff works.
Yeah.
My stuff works with SimCom, and they have a good deal. And I don't care about size.
Right.
So maybe eventually I'll go to uBlocks, but like I like the SimCom ones.
Right.
But yeah, they have American and European.
I'm going to speed
Yeah,
round.
so
So Danielle, you got a bunch of these. Okay.
Okay.
What are some of the biggest engineering challenges when you make something that's like basically a little robot that's on your desk?
Yeah, the rigidity is the biggest issue.
Okay, so it's like stiffness, so it's not like
Yeah,
like
you wanna
vibrating
have
off the table or something.
something that you can carry. So
Yeah.
it can't be like cast lead or something like that.
Okay.
And it has to be able to dampen vibration because every time you have vibration, it's going to affect how you.
So then you have to figure out what material.
Yeah.
Okay, and you were a chemist, right?
Material scientist.
Material. So like you actually know like what stuff's made out of.
Yeah, I'm very specific. I can make a battery for you from scratch, but
Like tonight?
we could. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go to the restaurant. That'd be cool if it's just like, okay, just get me some salt and pepper and some vinegar.
Oh well, like super simple battery. Yes.
Yeah, we should have to make a lemon battery in one of our shows. But okay, so you have to. So the rigidity matters. So you had to think about the materials.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, you have to think about how many of these you want to make. So if you're manufacturing 1,000 or 100,000, you can use different stuff. So we had to use HDPE, milk jug plastic, because it was inexpensive, light, dampened vibration, and for the size of the other mill, it was totally rigid enough.
Gotcha. Okay, and as far as like the internal motors and the moving parts, how did you figure out which specific motors to use? Because that's like one of the big questions. Like they have to be fast and they take power. Like how?
For us, we wanted to optimize for precision, so we used ones with very high precision lead screw. So the lead screw is, every single peak on the lead screw is a specific distance. So we had to go for that. Instead of using, you can use cheaper ones, but you wouldn't be able to rely that every single peak on your lead screw was the exact distance.
No, you totally pay for it. I mean, like, you can get like a stepper motor for like $3, or you can get one for $30.
Yeah.
And like the difference is basically the precision. Like you if you want the precision, you have to pay more.
And it's super important for the boards, like double-sided operations, because you want, when you flip the board, the machine is going to be within like 15 microns of where you think it is.
Gotcha.
Which is
Yeah. And then this question, it's for both of you. So what are some, this is on the business side, what was some of the early challenges or problems that you had to solve, it's just as a business when you got started?
Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Go for it.
Naming.
No,
Oh, yeah. Naming was a thing.
that's
what are
funny.
some of the first problems we had? So a lot of it was like, we had a failed Kickstarter campaign before we did what we do now.
What?
So,
Really?
Yes, our Other Life.
Was it the name of the company?
Yes, it's called Other Life. That was a problem too.
Well, your naming thing is really.
Just use other people's
It was
names.
called Disney. We didn't think they'd care.
But it was like Z.
Yeah.
Right.
D-I-Z.
Disney.io.
Font, though,
E-E.
the little,
We had a mouse.
So we originally were creating a consumer product, a connected lighting product called the Spark Socket that we launched on Kickstarter late 2012.
Okay.
And it was unsuccessful.
I
So it
don't
was a
even
failed
remember
Kickstarter
this.
campaign. A lot of people don't.
Has it been
because
erased
never
from
was-
history?
Kickstarter campaigns that failed do get erased. So if you want to find it, Google Spark Socket, click on the Wired article. That's the first thing, and then go down to the bottom to the link in there, and that's how you can get to.
And
the
then email
Kickstarter.
Jason Scott, and he'll fire up the Internet Archive, and he'll deliver it to you on a CD-ROM 4 to 6 weeks later.
So like that was our first thing, and it failed. And that was like, this is, I think, for an entrepreneur, a really difficult thing is watching a failure and then coming out of it and recognizing that what that was the market was telling you that you were wrong about something, and that you're not supposed to then like curl into a ball and like give up.
Yeah.
You're supposed to learn that thing and then do something else. So what we learned was that our product was too expensive and it was in a crowded space because Philips Hue had just came out, and like there were a bunch of problems with it. But what we also learned was that Internet of Things was exciting and people wanted to build stuff. We had a lot of people who were, and that's what caused us to switch gears into what we are now.
Okay.
I have a saying. What's worse than a failed Kickstarter?
Is a successful one that doesn't get enough money?
No, a success.
Any successful one.
A successful one that gets too much money.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that seems to be the new current problem.
Doesn't
It's
matter.
like-
Either get too much or too little. It's very hard to get just the right.
There's a chasm. It's like you can make in small volume or you can mass manufacture, and then there's this big area in between where like you might be kind of screwed, and you got to either leap the chasm or stay on this side.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you guys
Now,
left and
what
made to the other side.
What was one of the things that came up for you guys when you started this off?
Oh, for us, it's that frame.
Yeah.
Getting the frame to be perfect because we wanted it to be, under 25 pounds. It ends up being like 16.8 pounds or something now. That frame, we mill it. We have sheets of HDPE that we cut out, and finding people that want to mill it for us in the like 5,000 a year quantity is really difficult because you're relying on older style machine shops and like their pace and everything. So it has been outsourcing a really complicated part that is made with an old style of manufacturing. And we don't have all the milling machines that Apple does. They mill all their parts, but
they bought like all the laser machines that can put tiny microscopic
holes.
laser holes, so when the LED lights up and it's off, you can't see the LED afterwards or whatever.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So one of the things I like about the other mill, and it's part of your marketing, is like someone could just like pick it up and like do. Imagine like like a ukulele style bling bling bling. I just want to mill things anywhere on the go. So I guess another thing is, how important was the Kickstarter video for your Kickstarters? Someone had asked. Was that like was that the thing that like you're like, if we don't get the video right, because a lot of people who buy stuff from Adafruit are using our stuff in Kickstarters and are always asking us for advice. We're like, we can't give you any advice about Kickstarter because
We have no idea.
we can't, like we don't really know. We haven't gone through it. So what was the big kind of theme for each of the videos that really kind of helped put it over?
I think actually it's the first 15 seconds of your video.
Okay.
That is the most
That's good
important.
The
advice.
micro video.
Yeah.
So if you don't get them in 15 seconds, it's like, this is the thing for the like,
yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even remember what our video was like.
Okay. Well,
I thought you like blacked out. You're just like,
worked.
you're like
Okay.
It shows
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
No, wait. We showed people carrying the other mill around, and we showed.
That's what I remembered the most.
Like shots of it cutting metal and circuit board, like it was multi-material
Okay.
and portable.
That
and
was a big
circuits.
deal.
That was basically it.
Okay. What about your Kickstarter?
I do think the video is really important. I think you have to tell a really clear story, and especially with stuff like this, it's technical, right? Like, and it's not about specs. It's about like, what are you trying to achieve? And it should be really simple. My favorite Kickstarter campaign is the original Pebble, because if you look at the title, it's like, it's the clearest title. A lot of people try and get clever and cutesy with it. It's like, no, describe what your product does in as simple of words as you can.
What was it?
It's like Pebble, e-paper watch for iOS and Android.
Okay, straight to the point.
Very clear. It's not like, the smartest watch that will like change your life, right?
It's very SEO friendly, right? You're
Yeah.
like, what was the name of that e-paper watch that works with Android and iOS? Oh, right, and then it's Pebble.
Right.
No, I'm serious. Like, I have to write copy for products, and it's like you have to act like an idiot because you're
Right.
like, what is Google going to think of this?
And Kickstarter is a very international customer base, and you can't assume that your customers are like really good at English. So simple language, clear thoughts, communicated in the video and in the story, and the story and the video should be complementary. And also, you want to communicate professionalism, like film it on a nice camera and like put the camera on a tripod, and then use a nice microphone, good audio, good video, good lighting, like you guys have set up here. That makes a huge difference.
It's the first indication that someone has that you're actually going to do what you say you're going to do.
This is
Right.
actually a Kickstarter video. No, just kidding.
Right. Let's sell something. What can we sell? We have good lights.
I'm glad you asked. You can go to adafruit.com and you can use the code other particle and buy a lot of the things we talked about or even didn't talk about. Okay, well, we're right on the dot with the time here. We'll give away something in a second. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Like I said, this
was
is
fun.
It's amazing when you get companies that kind of share this like value and vibe that we all seem to have. So it's working out. And keep making neat stuff.
With 4 successful Kickstarters between you.
Yeah.
Or 3,
Right?
2,
No, just one.
Just one? Okay.
1, and then 3.
That we
We're
know
two
about.
2,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
sorry. 75% of Kickstarters agree that these people
Yeah.
are on top of it.
Okay, so we're going to do a trivia question. The prize tonight is what?
Do you want to give away this photon?
How about a photon and an electron?
A
Photon for
photon
now,
and
and
electron?
electron for later.
Okay.
That's tough. You're going to have to keep.
We will follow up.
You'll follow up. Okay.
Okay.
That's on you.
Yeah,
Okay.
just send us the address. Someone in our community asked specifically for us to give away an electron, and so I want to give it away.
Okay, what are the rules,
electron,
Lady
too.
Ada?
The rules are, if even though this is the best prize in the world, if you've won before by playing the trivia here at Ask Engineer, you can't win again. Only one winner per my lifetime. And the first person to answer the question in the Ustream or YouTube chat, according to what Phil wants as the answer, he decides is the winner. Do not call us on the phone and tell us that we're wrong. Just we're right. Okay, don't do that.
So you get your own video show, then you
Get
can be
your own
right.
video show and give yourself stuff.
All right.
And if you enter before, don't type it because some people are like, oh, I typed it, but then I forgot that I already won. Just like go do something else.
Yeah. Okay.
Unplug your.
So here's the trivia question. If you watch the show, Other Machine is in a very historic factory that used to make something. It is a certain type of factory. What type of factory was the Other Machine
Maiden.
made in? Yeah. So do you remember?
guys can
do you,
answer.
can't- you remember? Do you remember what it was?
I do.
Okay. So
You can't answer either.
It's a type of
I
factory.
walked by it.
Yeah.
I have walked by.
And if people were to start Googling, what would they have to Google for it's a name of the building or something?
Oh, the family name?
Yeah.
Schoenstein.
Schoenstein building. That would give them a clue. But if they've been watching the
It's
entire
not
show.
tacos.
Oh. I'm gonna give this as a person. I'm gonna call it. It's a pipe organ. Yeah, organ pipe. So RPIS WAG. Congratulations, pipe organ factory.
Pipe Organ Factory.
That's the guy who asked for us to give away an electron in our community.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, he gets it. That makes me so happy.
Do you know why? Because he was watching. He's like, there might be a quiz at the end.
Right.
There might be a quiz at the
Taking
end.
notes.
All right. Well, congratulations. You won. Email support@adafruit.com.
RP swag.
RP swag.
RP swag. Or RPI
You
swag.
won.
Or
All right.
PI.
RPI wag.
Yeah, pipe organ. Well, a lot of people were paying attention. So this week was all interviews. Next week we have a massive show, lots of new products, lots of videos. We're going to have a bunch of stuff, but we wanted to spend the entire time with you guys. So we're here every week, 8 p.m. We'll see everyone soon. One last time, where can people find more about Other Machine?
Othermachine.co.
Okay. And what about Particle?
Particle.io.
All right. Okay, well with
Formerly
that.
known as Spark.
Yeah.
Can you get a particle formerly known as Spark.io? Because that would be.
Oh, we should
Yeah.
Don't go buy that before
Yeah,
I
quick.
do. All of you out
Quick.
there.
The GoDaddy.
I know. All right.
Oh, it's gone now.
Yeah. So we'll see everybody next week. Don't forget, 3D Hangouts is tomorrow at 3 p.m. We have a 3D printing show that we do, and then Wearable Electronics with Becky Stern is every Wednesday, and then of course we're back next week. Just
Of a packed show next week.
Yeah.
It'll be twice.
here
it'll be
is
double
a picture
stuff.
of our cat. We used to have, when we were in an apartment, we brought the cat to the camera. Now we're demanded to show a picture of the cat. And here is your moment of Zener. Bye, everybody.